Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a little reaction, a little in-between reaction for Arcane, on the topic of Arcane. This is probably gonna come out, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks after I released the first part, the first act of Season 2 of Arcane. And it's probably gonna come out a good 2 to 3 weeks before I get the chance to release part 2 of the Season 2 of Arcane. This is a thing that I wanted to do for a long time. It's been recommended to me, I think, somewhere after I released part 2 of season 1. And I didn't get to do it because I had a lot to do. And during the holidays, obviously, I was with family. And I was going to do it between season 1 and season 2 on the break. The problem with that was I actually already had season 2 part 1 recorded, because I relatively quickly recorded one after the other. So it didn't fit in there specifically. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to react to Enemy, which is a collaboration between Imagine Dragons and J.I.D, as far as I know. I don't know J.I.D. Sorry for all of you fans or cultural people who are like, how dare he? How dare he? But yeah, I don't know. But we're gonna check it out. I do hear there is a decent amount of context, especially like season 1 stuff. Some people did say it's recommended to watch after episode 3, I think, of season 1, even like this early. So it might be some childhood stuff as well. But we're gonna check this out, and if you see this, it is very likely, by the way, that Arcane Season 2, Act 2, Part 2 of my video series, is already on Patreon. The only reason it takes time to actually get it out this time, and this time a lot of time, is that I actually wanted to get it to you mostly like mostly blockage free and unclaimed and as unmuted as possible, right? So we're gonna try to modify the main version, right? Like do the audio a little bit low and like do play around with the opacity, and then there's gonna be claims, and we have to dispute them, and then it's gonna take a while until the claims are actually released, because if my past experience is anything to go by with like Act 3 of Season 1 and also with Act 1 of Season 2, it's gonna take 30 days until the claim is released, because the company in question, which I think is Netflix, is actually not responding to the claims. So they're just gonna let the timer run out and see if the person cares enough to actually just retract the claim or delete the video and upload it differently, or if they are patient and just let it, like, wait for it. And we're gonna wait for it this time because I want to get you an experience that is as good as possible. But if you see this video, as I said, go check out the Patreon. It's like super low entry fee. You can already watch it. You can watch it ad free without any problems, right? Because yeah, somehow I have to actually finance the all the amount of time that I actually put into this, because I have a lot of other stuff to do in the meantime. But yeah, let's check out this video. It's a 3-minute video, should be a quick watch, and then we can kind of just talk a little bit about it. I'm not gonna get too long-winded, I do hope. Let's check this out. Arcane, Imagine Dragons, J.I.D. Enemy is gonna start with the best, yeah, with 1080p in a 3, a 2, a 1, a bam. And we have the Undercity, last drop. Alright. Way back with Powder. Oh, I do wonder if this is like before like the season 3 thing. Oh, that's Imagine Dragons. All right.
I wake up to the sounds of the silence that allows for my mind to run around.
The crew.
With my ear up to the ground. I'm searching to behold the stories that I told when my back is to the world.
You got some little man. Nice. Very interesting because the two of them are actually the same age. Oh, holy shit, that is... Bro's like... Look at this girl. This is crazy with like episode 7 context. What the fuck? What you witness, right? Even as a kid. Like there's a wall between them. Ooh. Fun times and then arguments. It's before we go through it. I'm sorry for stopping it, by the way, but I think that's normal for like music video stuff and whatnot. I think it's really, really insane what you do witness as a kid, right? Like, I mean, adults don't have or didn't have the sense for that, the eye for that. When I was growing up, I do feel they didn't, or I mean, maybe they realized it, but it felt oftentimes in hindsight like they didn't realize what you actually are picking up, even though you're still a kid, right? There's discussions that are being had, there's arguments that are being made, it's like family gathering, dinner table conversations that are way above what you are normally thinking and talking about as a kid, but you do pick up parts of that. And that is amplified in an environment like Powder's and like Bai's when they grow up, where there's systemic like oppression going on, where there's like a police force that, while they try to keep up the order, right, and make sure everybody's acting in according to the law that was being placed on, like that's trying to maintain some kind of stability here, there's still the problem that from their perspective, they are always the ones being picked out. They are always the ones being punished. They are always the ones being oppressed, right? So in a way, the police force is the enemy. They are the enemy in that sense. And you do witness that from a very early age on, but you also witness all of the infighting that's going on. We saw that when Powder was looking down the alley and she saw just like somebody getting beaten up and them lying on the ground, and people just keep hitting and keep smacking them around. It's very hard to tell what that does to a person because it's different for everybody. Like, everybody growing up has a different sensibility for things. They have different interpretations of how they pick that up, also depending on how their parents actually deal with that when they are in the presence of the child, right? If the child and the parent are going down the lane and something like that happens, how does the parent react to that? Is it like somebody like Vander who probably dives in there and is like, you guys leave him alone, right? Especially when it's like something that is unjustified or something that's overly brutal. Obviously, Vander did partake in all of this hierarchy and structure. He was part of it, so he does, for example, fund operations that are less than legal, right? Stuff that's stealing, that's how you, like, that's what you see when you see like Vi and Clagger and Milo and Powder going out on their little heists and doing that themselves, because they see it in their role models, right? They see it being either done or at the very least, their role models interacting with somebody casually and accepting that they are doing something shady, right? Like stealing or hitting other people, or right, violence and theft and all of these things. So this is very interesting how that gets perpetuated. Another thing I wanted to say is, like, in the context of episode 7, The Boy Savior, this is very interesting because we see basically Powder and Echo being the two people who are kinda always hanging out because they're the same age, right? Like, sure, they're hanging out with Vi, they're hanging out with Milo and Clagger, but the three of them are more like their own age group, so they can do more grown-up things already. They're like, they get more responsibility heaved onto them, right? They are stronger, right? They're more skilled and all of these things. So as somebody who is like younger than, and who is kind of looking up to those, you do see like Vi showing her boxing skills, and then later on when Vi is actually gone, Powder's like, I can do that too, right? I'm gonna try and whatever, and she kind of almost stumbles, and Echo is thinking, look at this fool. But then he's doing the same thing just a second later and then stumbling over himself. So they're kind of on the same level, both mentally and as well as like physically, and just as the kind of person they are in life at this point in their development. So we do not see this connection in this main series, which is kind of a shame, I do feel. But I don't know if they could have done it better, because the first three episodes are very central and important also in their pacing and the way they kind of present themselves, for you to go into that episode 3 being that absolute fucking clusterfuck of a hit on your emotions and on your perception of the series, and kind of pulling you in for the rest of the series. So the question is, could they have even put more of Echo and like also Milo and Clagger in there? And would that make it better, or would that just fluff it out more and it would feel less less impactful? Not because we do have more time with them, but just because the pacing is gonna get messed up. But yeah, let's look at that second verse.
I'm hoping that somebody pray for me. I'm praying that somebody hope for me. I'm staying where nobody supposed to be. Posted, being a wreck of emotions. Ready to go whenever you let me know. The road is long, so put the
wreck of emotions. Du love that with Blue Red.
I'm an astronaut. I blasted off the planet, rock that caused catastrophe, and it matters more because I had it. Now I had a thought about wreaking havoc on an opposition, kind of shocking. They want a static with precision. I'm automatic quarterback. I ain't talking second pack it up on panic. Batter up. Who the baddest? It don't matter because we is your.
Ooh, that is a cool transition. And then with the violet eyes, which is like the red and the blue. And then like she's being swallowed. And now Jinx is kind of like the big sister. Interesting. And she's gone. And it falls off. Of course it falls off. Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. When you do see like, let me just, I think that, yeah, that's how it goes too. This is kind of like a big sister vibe, right? Like, and the way I read that is because at some point in time we have episode 3 happening and Powder gets abandoned. So Powder needs somebody to fill in that role of protector and person who is capable, but it can't be somebody like Vander or Silco because they are too adult, right? They're too removed from her reality in a sense. So what she needs is something that comes from close to her. And what she had before that is Vi, right? Because Vi was a sister and she was closer to her in terms of age. So there's this connection that like a father figure or mother figure can't do. So what she needs is somebody who is like a powerful person that is kind of almost part of her own identity that is protecting her. And since there is a vacuum and there's nobody who's actually going to fill it, what she does is she fills it with her alternate persona, which is Jinx, right? There's this self-protection mechanism where we're going from all I do is destroy things, right? To, yes, all I do is destroy things. Let's embrace that, right? Turn something that's like, I lose everybody in my life because I destroy them, to I can defend myself against anybody who is a threat, who is an enemy to me, because I destroy them. And that kind of makes sense, right? It rhymes in the sense of like a narrative context. We do have the little tinkerer who tries to fix things but destroys them inevitably, and then she grows up to be a tinkerer that explodes things, that destroys things, that deconstructs them. Even in her grand scheme of like the like, if we zoom out and we see the red thread of her story, it's like her, even though probably very few of the people of the lanes actually want her to be that, she is kind of the person who is the spirit of Zorn revolting against Piltover, right? It's like the destructive force that deconstructs all of the pillars of society that we've had built up so far. Silco would have played along with those pillars of society because he would have achieved what he wanted to achieve, right? Which is an independent nation of Zorn, and then he would have been able to, I guess, perpetuate the same structure but within his own borders and be independent of Piltover. So Silco's idea was kind of, even though he saw himself as a revolutionary, even though he revolted against all of this, he kind of almost would have continued the basic structure of the society. He would have just changed who is at the top of that society and who belongs to that society, which is like Zorn separating from Piltover. But in a way, Jinx, as like deconstruction of all of this, kind of went beyond her father's wishes, but still symbolizing that true nature of his spirit, of his wish, of his dream, which is to revolt against the higher powers that be, right? But yeah, really, really, really cool way to actually show this in a music video, where we do have like almost like an alternate persona here coming in. And I do think that's really cool because lately, minor spoilers for Monster, it's nothing major, but there is an arc in Monster where we do have a character that kind of blacks out. And then he can actually, like, because he learned the skills and whatever, he can actually really mess up some people. So it's very interesting that this kind of reflects that, right? Where she's like, not exactly, because she doesn't black out or whatever, she doesn't have like two personalities, but she has like, she reinvented herself in a way in order to protect herself. So there's definitely that going on here. But we do see that spirit even early on, right? Here she's pointing the guns at everybody and shooting them, but even as like a kid way back when, we do have that when the guards are going past. I don't know if we're actually gonna see that, but when the guards are going past, she's actually putting her hand out and she's like, right? She always had a thing with guns as well, because like those are like, she's pretty accurate. That is fucking an insane shot where she like just opens her mouth and the firefly is coming out. I do wonder what that means symbolism wise. I mean, I know she had those exploding ones on the bridge. Also know that in a way, I guess, like, but no, her actions didn't trigger the fireflies being created in that way. So it's really weird how what that is. Like, maybe that has some bigger meaning and symbolism. I saw stuff like that before, right? Like a bug coming out of your your mouth, because like it's been incubating in there, and then it became like went from like a larva to like a butterfly or something similar, or a firefly in this case. but I don't know what the meaning of that necessarily is. I think last time I saw something similar to that was Made in Abyss. But yeah, you do see them together a lot more, so it makes sense, like episode 7, the whole thing. Also, like, Vi, I guess, looking back here, being like, yeah, we do have, like, the warm moments. Remembering the warm moments as well, between all of them. Right, going past them, and then seeing, like, the insecurity. Is that Vi, or is that just somebody? Also, Echo being like... hard to tell if that's actually Vi or if that's just somebody. But yeah, very, very cool also with all of the colors. The enforcers always being in green or red, right? Threatening, right? Poisonous and threatening. Jinx or Powder always being in blue and later on in red, because you do have that stark conflict, and the blue and the red kind of merges and it becomes the shimmer violet color, which is really cool. Also very funny with, like, Vi's name and whatnot. Yeah, here where she's opening, like, where she's putting a mental cap into the soldiers, but we also see those little moments of, like, them arguing with one another, and him also just talking about, let me just listen to what he's singing here. Wreck of emotions. Thinking out the box, causing catastrophe. I can't understand everything because, like, my English is really good, but rapping is a challenge. Wreaking havoc on an opposition. Is there, like, subtitles for this? Why is there Japanese Chinese subtitles? I don't need Chinese subtitles. What do you mean? I ain't talking sacking packet up. I don't panic. Yeah. There's this duality going on, even, like, with her child self, but it's obviously being split more into, like, this is my child self and this is Jinx as she grows up. Really cool song. I do wonder if these characters actually, like, if they made these characters specific characters that we have some lore information on outside of the series. But either way, even especially with also the monkey falling off the counter at the end of it, you're like, this is heavy symbolism for, like, her fall in a way, but also, like, just like the catastrophe that follows in a way. But yeah, really cool video, adding a little bit of context and also, like, maybe a little bit of like much needed time seeing the crew together, right? Milo, Clagger, Vi, Powder, I always try to say Jinx, and Echo, all of them together, just spending their time, their youth in this fucking hellhole, but also having obviously fun times, because yeah, you make the best out of it most of the time, right? Like, what do you do as a child, right? In a lawless area where you adapt to a degree, and obviously adaptation is not enough to prevent the trauma, but it is enough to make you survive, to make you get along in this world. But yeah, let's I'll see you soon. Hopefully for Arcane Act 2 of Season 2, which is going to be really exciting with a lot of moving elements and whatnot. And until then, have a good one.